Good afternoon, everybody, and happy Monday. Hope you had a nice weekend. Um, if you were one of those people that was absent on Friday for various reasons, in order to get those points, you need to send me your notes over chapter 25 and as a private discussion um, on Canvas. Okay, say it one more time here. You're going to need to make sure that you send me your notes over chapter 25 if you missed the discussion on Friday. All right. On that note, I'm going to go ahead and just update everybody on the schedule here. Since it is the last week of the 9 weeks, we do not have a quiz today because our quiz day is Wednesday. So, what we're going to do instead is today we're going to work on some documents that are over the chapter. So hopefully you read. And then tomorrow we'll take notes. Wednesday we'll quiz and work on discussion questions. Thursday we'll go over those questions. And then Friday we'll conclude the semester with one more discussion. And your final exam is going to be 60 question multiple choice test. You'll have a lot of time to do it. You'll have 25 new questions over chapters 25 and 26. And then there'll be 35 what I would call recycled questions or old ideas. They're not going to be the most difficult ones that will be part of the final. Okay. So essentially the final exam is a chapter 25, 26 unit test, and then review questions. Okay. I know there has been some confusion just by what I heard from some freshman parents that I know whose kids I teach tennis to and whatnot about one of my coworkers saying that he was not going to have a final for those students that had A's. But as a PLC, we had to all agree on one way or the other. And since for us, we have a test that would have been new content, it wasn't going to excuse students that had A's going into the final because, again, I want to assess you over what I thought you should have learned in the last 2 weeks. Does everybody understand that? Okay, I'm not trying to be the wicked witch of the West or anything. I'm not trying to be the mean guy. It's just common sense. So, yeah. And honestly, I hope you don't have test anxiety because you have your notes in front of you and everything. I mean, this go around for the final exams is a nice intro to high school compared to how they actually are. So I think for you, that's a positive, and not a negative. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and take over the screen here. Now that we've got a handful of people I had someone ask how much is our final towards our final grade. The lowest amount possible, which is 10%. Okay. So it probably won't have a significant impact, but it could move people from a B plus to an A minus or A minus to a B plus or something like that. But you're probably not going to be jumping multiple letter grades. For some reason it's sharing the wrong screen. So 1 second here. And that's because I gotta go back. All right. All right. 1 second. I'm almost there. Okay. So you can see Canvas right now. So you're going to want to do the same thing on your computer. Go to modules. And when you go down to the bottom, for today, you're going to click on what's called the Latin America DBQ. And here's what you're going to see. So you're going to see the assignment is complete the following worksheet over Latin America governance, due by 11:30 a.m. tomorrow. Okay, we're going to talk about some stuff in class though, so then it won't be as difficult. Okay, so you want to download this worksheet, which I just did. And then you want to download the DBQ, which is the actual documents. Okay, should show up. There's 11 documents, which is more than you'll see on the actual AP exam, but it's good practice. Okay, so go ahead and do that now, please. Make sure you're following along so that we can get started and we don't have to sit here and wait 9 years. I myself am going to pull up the essay prompt, so I'm going to share something different with you so that we can talk about what the question is. All right, so the essay prompt, that's going to be the actual question, is based on the documents, analyze the state structures and political attitudes in Latin American nations during the 19th century. So analyze the state structures and political attitudes. So what are state structures? Can anyone help me with that? Can anybody help me tell me what a state structure is?
Like what kind of government they have?
Exactly. So what kind of government it is. So whether it's a democracy, whether it's like a two-chamber parliament, maybe it's a dictatorship, etc. Okay. And then political attitudes. What do you think it could be asking for when it says political attitudes? What are some things that maybe come to mind? I don't care who says it. Just unmute and tell me what you think political attitudes might mean. It's very critical when you get a document-based question that you try to analyze what you think the prompt and everything's going to tell you first, because you have a lot better idea than going in to the documents if you know what you're looking for. Lucy, what is it?
Does that mean like how like the public reacts to like the government's like political changes kind of?
Could be, yeah. How the public reacts, but that's not a bad start. Political attitudes would be like, are there movements going on? Is there change going on? Why is there change going on? Like, again, just using the French Revolution as an easy example, the lower classes rebelling. Are people, looking for democracy? Do they need a strong leader? Those are going to be political attitudes. If you just look at how the United States voted in 2020, one could say that our political attitude was that we were looking for change. I think you understand that. Okay, cool. Let's go up then. I'm still sharing. Let's go ahead and take the historical background together. Can I get a volunteer to read this, please? It's not too difficult.
I can.
Go ahead.
Okay. The ideas and reforms of the Enlightenment were not confined to Europe or the United States. Local elites in Latin America were as familiar with their ideas as were Thomas Jefferson and Thomas Paine. The course of the French Revolution was watched closely in late Latin America. When Napoleon invaded Spain and replaced its king with his brother, he set in motion the final stage during which Spain's and Portugal's Latin American colonies gained independence. By 1825, all colonies but the islands in the Caribbean had become independent. After the Wars of Independence, governments formed to address the demands of their diverse populations.
All right. So by 1825, all the colonies with the islands had become independent. Now they needed to figure out what kind of government they were going to have that would benefit the most people. Isn't that what government's supposed to be for? Now, what kind of tricky situation do you think we might have here in governing Latin America based on former historical themes? Hannah Hiddle, what do you think?
The diverse of populations and like ethnic groups that are in Latin America.
Can you explain a little bit what that means? Like,
Yeah. So how in Latin America they were big, like some of the states were really big on importing slaves from different places, and then immigrants, just like for like Europeans and different people coming to rule those like plantations and areas, and they probably have different political views and standpoints.
mm-hmm. And some Latin American places had large cities and were becoming slightly urbanized and industrialized. Other places were primarily rural and agricultural. Plus, like you mentioned, the diversity between what was this racial system that the Spanish set up, if you remember, called the casta system, basically a caste system, where you had more intermixing of the races in Latin America than you did in North America. Good. All right, well, that's probably a good place to start. Let's go ahead then. I'm going to change gears just a little bit and share a different document with you. So now I'm going to share the Word document that is the worksheet that we're looking at. So the first thing we would do is probably put in our contextualization. So 3 to 4 things that are going on in the world that are going to affect the documents. And we can do that without really reading the documents very closely. Okay, because we know what the topic of the essay is. So let's go ahead and kind of use our funnel approach and let's make a contextualization together here. Okay. What's kind of a general statement we could make about why political change and attitudes are taking place in Latin America, after 1825? What are some things we could throw out there?
Can I say one?
Sure.
Like different ethnic groups and like divisions cause there to be like unrest and a movement for change.
Okay, so we I think it'd probably be like our second to last sentence. So I might say something like Latin America had a diverse population which demanded, what did you say? Kind of
Like governmental change.
I'd say which caused a demand for different styles of government. Okay. Yeah, no, the reason why I put that down at 4 and not at 1 is I don't think you would start, that's too narrow to start your contextualization. Okay. Can anyone give me a broader statement than that? Hannah, what do you think?
Like the period of revolutions, like
There you go. So maybe even before that, the Enlightenment, which caused political and social upheaval in various areas of the world. I think you just say the Enlightenment caused political and social upheaval in various areas of the world. It hit Latin America after the Napoleonic Wars. Okay. Let's see. The Enlightenment caused political and social upheaval in various areas of the world. It hit Latin America after the Napoleonic Wars. Latin America had a diverse population, which caused a demand for different styles and added different styles of government and different attitudes towards government. Boom. Now I think you'd be pretty ripe now to have a thesis statement. Does everybody see that? That addresses styles of government and attitudes. Okay, so now we don't even know what our thesis statement is going to be because obviously we haven't gone through and figured out what the puzzle of the document says, but we've got a really good contextualization here, I think. I mean, it's pretty simple. You just use a funnel. Okay, we talk about the Enlightenment, then we bring up Napoleonic Wars, then we bring up the fact that they're independent, but now what do you do? Everyone, I think we all understand government, and like government styles is very tricky because everyone always wants a certain thing and not everyone always gets their way. Okay, so I'm guessing that's what the documents say. If I had to make a guess. But I got to go in and figure that out now. So using the participant function, showing me that you are human beings and actually alive, those of you with your videos off. If you understand the contextualization, put yes. If you click the yes button on the participants. If you don't understand it, click no. If you are confused, put go slower, please. If you think I'm crazy that you would actually press a button and say go slower and no, because all your peers said yes, then you're probably not wrong because that was dumb on my part. Okay. Is there a Jasmine out there or a Jill? Keep your yes on there. I want to see participation. Thanks, Grace. Leave it. Jasmine, you out there? Put your Tony's pizza down and press the green button or the red one or the go slower one. All right. You know. There you go. Okay, we got 100% participation there. I'm gonna record this later. They're gonna be impressed. Okay, now, cool. So everyone feels good with that. We've got to leave our thesis alone, and let's go back and look at. Okay, we got our groupings. The only way we can do the grouping is after we figure out what the documents say. We can do point of view, or basically one portion of the soapstone for this once we read the documents. So we'll kind of be looking for that as we look at the documents. Does everyone understand that? Good. Okay, so that's going to require me to do a fancy new share. And I know all of you are so impressed with my ability to use technology here and share different things. It's pretty cool, I know. except now I don't know where it is, which is a lot less cool. Where'd you go? Oh, there you are. Okay, there it is. So, I guess we got to go back with the documents then, don't we? Let's do a couple together so I can help you fill out those lines. I got people yawning on me. Jeez. All right. The Declaration of Allegiance sworn by the companion in arms to Jean-Jacques Dessalines, an illiterate ex-slave general and Governor General for life of Haiti, 1804. We swear entire obedience to the laws he shall deem fit to make. His authority being the only one we acknowledge, we authorize him to make peace and war and to appoint his successor. So, how does that document talk to us about styles of government, state structures, or political attitudes? Anybody want to take a gander at this one? Hannah, what do you think?
My first thought was like monarchy, just like absolute like just like no thought of like questioning your leader's like actions, just like
Yeah.
says like total authority and just like blindly following him.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say monarchy because that's not necessarily a king, but I was going to say like a dictatorship or one party rule. Yeah. So I always on the right side or left side, pick a side. You do whatever you want. I usually would write if I had the cool stylus like you guys have. I typically would make a note of what the document's saying, which is they're authorizing a totalitarian government, one person rule, and then on the right, I'm going to write down part of the soapstone or bias in this that I can find in this. So, how do we see point of view or bias here? Anyone want to help?
We're biased because we only get like the ruling side and we don't really get kind of the people that get affected by this, like the natives or the Latin American people that were there before these like people who were trying to take over and rule as kind of a dictatorship.
Okay, that would work. That would work. I'm thinking kind of along those same lines, but I'm thinking that this is a general who has making his people promote himself to being the one person allowed to rule. And so in the soapstone I would probably use like I'd probably use like the purpose. He's trying to make himself into a dictator, and the tone is that he's trying to make it sound like the people love him, but he really is just using European style of government, like you said, monarchy or totalitarianism like Napoleon to rule. Okay, so I'm trying to give everyone an example here. So I'm going to switch to share again real quick. And what I would do if I were actually writing this. So what I would do then is go to this for document number. I would put document 1, and how do I identify point of view bias? Well, military general forcing his subjects to pledge allegiance to only him. All right. Everyone, does that make sense to everybody? Okay, cool. Do you want to do one more document together? Do you want me? Are you guys bored with me? You want to do one more together? Okay, that's fine. We'll do one more. Let's go to back. I gotta switch to share again. Okay, let's go to document 2. This says military rule in Latin America to 1900. and then it gives countries on the left, and I have to move all of your faces because they're in my way. Here we go. Gives countries on the left, and then it gives dates of independence, and then it gives periods of military rule, and then it gives the total years of military rule. Between basically, most of these are around 1820 to 1830, and then the bottom ones you have more military rule. And there's only 3 countries in all of Latin America that had no military takeover. So, what do you think this? What do you think this document is trying to say to, towards the thesis? Okay, what's it trying to say about either the style of government or the attitude? 5 minutes. Okay.
Hey, kids on Zoom.
Yeah, Mr. Dickerson's here, of course.
Hi.
Which is why I had the mask up.
You jealous?
Now he's shaking his rump.
I was twerking.
Okay. All right, so talk to me. What makes this what does this say about attitudes or style? Hannah Hiddle. You look like you have your hand up, I guess. What'd you say?
That like the presence of military in these countries could create social unrest and just like feelings of being like too contained, or that the government was being like the government was too centralized and too heavy-handed in like imposing taxes and like enforcing these military like
Yeah, military rule kind of goes with the first document, right?
yeah.
Yep. So central rule, we know what democracy is, right? We're all smart enough to know that. So that means when the military rules, people don't have any say in the government. So centralized rule on the left. Do we see any bias or perspective in this? I am not gonna. I would say no, personally. If you want to be like that guy and the annoying one, you could find. I can teach you how to find some bias in this. Anyone know what it is? Anybody want to take a gander here? It's tricky. It's not really tricky at all. It's just you got to figure it out. What's the bias here or perspective? Nobody knows. You know why? Because we're not given an author. We don't even know if this is real or not or credible. Just a random words and lines and numbers. Without a source, we don't really know if this is true. You guys see that? So if I'm filling out the worksheet, there's 11 other documents. I'm really not worried. Like I'm going to be able to figure out easily 3 other ones. But, if I'm using this worksheet, I'm probably going document 2. Depending on how bad I wanted to get this done. But I would probably, you could do this. Document 2, and the reason why it shows biased perspective is no author, not sure if the data is credible. Does that make sense to everyone? So limitation, remember I used the word limitation, or at least I hope I did at some point. A limitation of this document is that we don't even know who the heck made it. Like, did Jane Doe make it in her backyard in Brooks Cove? Who knows? So that's where you can point that out, and you can get points for that as well. Okay. Do you all feel okay about that? So for the grouping, we already have a group forming, though. That's also document 1 and 2 already look like they're forming some type of a group. And that theme that they appear to be around is some kind of like strong central government or strong. what was the word? Even more like strong government with little participation by the people. Now that statement might morph into something different if the document starts saying different stuff, but that's what I would probably start with, just after having looked at two. I'm assuming that I can find a third or a fourth or a fifth that probably fits in that. Okay, everyone feel okay about this? Yes, this is by far the most, probably the hardest thing you're going to do all week in this class, but I just did a lot of it with you, gave you a good start. So, okay, those of you that aren't shaking your head and participating, make sure you're okay out there. If you have any individual questions, send me a message. You can use Remind or you can use Canvas. It's fine, but I want you to work on this now the rest of class. If you don't get done, which you probably won't, you can use it for homework, okay? And then chapter 26 notes quiz Wednesday, tomorrow regular notes. So this is your only homework really. And yeah, make sure you're taking care of your other classes. Biology, probably English 9X, I'm assuming is a lot of work, and math is math. It's not ever going to get easier. So yeah, and if you were following me today and if you were feeling like you at least were on the same page as me when we went through this, you're actually way more ready to write a DBQ than you realize. So that's a good thing, because I'm a little nervous about it since you're not writing one on the final exam. So that's why I feel like today we needed to make sure we got focused, so that if you don't have me next semester, if you get Mr. Tallman or Mr. Broderick, that you're ready to rock and roll. If the first week they throw you a DBQ and say write it, you're not going to be dead in the water. Okay. All right. If you have a question, ask me now. If not, I'll get out of here and keep working on this and spend some time tonight. Also, I made it due after the little 30-minute break thing tomorrow, so you got that time as well, technically. All right. See you, good people. Good job.
Is it okay that some of the documents are kind of like cut short?
No, they're not supposed to be. Just move this. If you've downloaded the document, just move them onto another page.
Okay, thank you.
You can, yeah, that happened when I tried to, when I was messing with it to try to manipulate it. That happened. So, yeah.
All right, bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Jasmine, are you out there?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna stop the share real quick here, and I'm gonna go on to your, I'm gonna go on to Canvas and check out what you've got going on and don't have going on. Okay.
All right.
1 second. All right. So I need to go to grades and what did you say that you turned in?
I'm checking out right now.
Okay, so I'm seeing that you turned some stuff in. Okay, so you turned in, seeing that you turned in your notes from the other day. That's good. You had a submission for the small group. You did the extra credit. I need you to take the chapter 25 notes quiz from last week, okay?
Okay.
And then Industrial Revolution. DBQ homework. Kind of similar to what we were just doing. Now let me look in Skyward real quick as well. Okay, in Skyward, do you have something to write down right now?
Yeah.
Maybe a utensil or something? Okay. Here's what I need you to do according to Skyward. All right, the poem analysis, white man's burden versus black man's burden.
I think I did that.
Okay. I'll find that. Then you need the chapter 25 notes quiz. Okay. And the 1117 DBQ work over industrialization. And then it looks like you did take that quiz. It says you got a 19 on it. So I got that done. That's good. And excuse that. Okay, so from my perspective, I need you to take the chapter 24 notes quiz, okay? The first half. Did you already do that? I don't think so.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay, that first half, chapter 24 notes quiz. Then I need you to do the DBQ work from 1117 of the Industrial Revolution. And then take the chapter 25 notes quiz and you'll be good, okay?
All right.
Actually, shoot, I'm looking at the wrong. Wait, no. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Sorry, my eyes were deceiving me. Yeah, so that's all you got to do. It'll be good. Just can you send those scores to me directly as a Canvas message, please?
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you. Trying to find you for like an hour today. I was waiting.
Yeah, I joined and it just kept saying waiting for them to start the meeting
Huh.
until it was almost fifth period. So then I left and then I saw your message and I was like, that's weird.
Yeah, it was weird. Sorry about that. All right. Yeah, just send me those when you get them done, okay?
All right.
You take the quiz and send me the scores, please.